All right, good people. This is pre-recorded, and this is going to be a response to Truth as I Know It. And I want to hit him with this before we get started.
Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
The second thing I want to hit him with is what?
Hey, yo, lesson here, babe. You come at the king, you best not miss.
Go. Now, this has been going on for like 2 or 3 years, and a lot of these guys, losers, are blaming their success or lack of on me, like I'm holding them back. And what they want to do is throw knives in my back and expect me to help them. It's not the way I work. If you really wanted me to help you, you would have been part of the team. The people that I help have been my guys. The people that I help are my guys. Now, some guys, if they're nice and they're friendly, and I come over and I lend them a hand, and they don't bite it, I give them help. Like Man-Made Media, I've been over there many, many times, right? But guess what? They sent me a gesture of goodwill. I came over, I lend them a hand, I lend them a name, I share their stuff because I want to help people grow. And your growth is not dependent on me. Your growth is dependent on you. So if you're failing, especially on YouTube, that's a you problem. It's not a me problem. So if I got some help and I got the mic and I'm supposed to spread your message, where do they do that at? So you're paying me to spread your message and get mad at me when I don't, when I want to do my stuff. I'm here to do my stuff my way, not your way. That's why it's my channel. I ain't got a team. I ain't got a whole lot of backers. Most of the stuff, I was recruited to help do. Most of the stuff, I did it on my own. All these things I came up with, for the most part, I came up with it on my own because I've been doing this shit for 30 years. A lot of stuff that you were talking about, hell, you learned this shit from me. And unfortunately, you didn't apply it correctly. Anyway, let's go ahead and get this party started because he came, he came at Kev, and I was over there with Kev, and now you want to come at me? That's fine. Want to come at the king? I said, you best not miss. So you want attention? I'm gonna give you attention today. All right. So we're gonna go. We're gonna go at was it 1 point? Hopefully 1.25 is fast enough, because let's go 1.5 because these guys are slow. They talk slow.
All right, so be quiet, Truth. Let's get Truth.
Well, I've been listening for a few minutes. Now, hold on. Let me know if this sounds good. Give me one if this sounds good. Like if you can hear, I just want to make sure. I'm not certain. I just want to make sure it sounds good. So give me one in the chat if you would. But this is me over on Black brutally honest. After the Super Bowl, I was tired too, man. I was tired, but I had drank some coffee and I wasn't at my best. And I had like a 3-hour late live stream that morning. So I was like live streaming for 4 hours, which is something I don't think I've ever done that. And I'm damn sure not used to it. So excuse me if my voice isn't as strong and I wasn't as alert as I probably normally would be. But let's continue. And I'm hearing things that aren't necessarily true, or I'm not listening that much. But let me set the table. So it's BGS, She, Chaos Rain, Andre, me, and that's Kev up there. And they were actually reviewing the video that we did on my channel earlier that day. They were reviewing it on their channel, so we hopped on in the chat. I didn't really. Oh, there's an echo. Oh, that echo's not me. I don't think that echo's me. I think it's from the video. Hold on. I don't know exactly what's going on here.
Also, what do you have to
set the table for it.
What do you have to dispute? You're saying that you're hearing stuff you don't agree with. So let's hear it. What did I say that you don't agree with?
Truth has to mute when somebody else is talking.
Okay. As many Keisha bashing videos, at least at the rate of videos I was putting out, as anybody. And I was going in deep on the gynocracy. You see them videos. You know where I stand on that. And my position is this. Because I've talked to you about this. When I look at the Black Manosphere and I go, we got the word out about the gynocracy to the world. We did that as a group. And I said,
and now a year or 2 ago, they said we didn't do shit. A year ago, they said the Black Manosphere was a failure. It didn't do anything. It wasn't effective. It meant nothing. Now, 2 years later, guess what they're saying? The exact opposite. That's the problem I have with these people. They rewrite history. They're like women. They rewrite history. Black women rewrite history all the time. All of a sudden, what they did 2 years ago doesn't matter. All of a sudden, no, it's a we shit. When it looks like it's going to fail, it's a you. When it looks like it's going to succeed, it's a we. I said that years ago. Remember the old SBE table stuff? About coming back to the table and the shit wasn't effective and Manosphere 2.0 was a failure, Manosphere 1.0 was better. This is these Negroes saying this kind of crap. Years ago, okay? 2 years ago. Now all of a sudden, things have changed. Now we talked about it and we did this and we did that. Nigga, you didn't do this shit. Where were you? Where were you with the heavy lifting? It wasn't you. Now everybody wants to take credit. Now before that, you know, it's your fault. You know, like BGS and the trifecta, you know, oh, they failed. But all of a sudden, when things look like it's working and things have changed, like I told them it would 6-7 years ago, that this day would come. Now it's all of a sudden it's a we thing. Fuck out of here.
Support that mission. But it's like that hit a critical mass. It's hit Black and white America. Everybody knows about this gynocracy now. And I'm saying, instead of guys, and what it looks like to me is guys.
Now, yeah, everybody knows about the gynocracy, but said now, right? Who said that? You telling me shit I already know. And I said that well before you guys actually saw it, which is normally the case. You can't say, BGS, you were right about this all along. It's we.
Have kind of found a cash cow in popularity, and they're pretty much saying the same things as they've always said. But to me, it's starting to have diminishing returns because people are turning against one another. That's my point. And so when I look and I go, how come we don't have the Black Manosphere doesn't stand on family structure? No, we know that to be a fact. We know the Black Manosphere doesn't stand on family structure because there's a lot of these guys that they just kind of say, well, no, I don't want to get married, I don't want to have kids, and I'm comfortable with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But then a lot of those guys, they just don't really worry about women, though. They don't go around talking about women's like that. They just they talk about politics or sports or whatever it is, and business.
The Black Manosphere has always talked about women. What the fuck you talking about? 90% what goes on the Black Manosphere is about women. It is because not just about the woman that you're messing with, or you're trying to screw, or you're trying to date. It's your mothers, your sisters, your aunties, your grandmother. Just did a show. Had nothing to do with trying to get with a woman. It's about how men are socialized, because that's the problem that we have. In Passport Bros, which is the hottest thing, is about women. The whole sphere was built around women. It was not built around politics. When I went back and looked at 1.0, it's built around women and relationships. And it's not just your relationship with your girlfriend or your wife. The Black Manosphere is trying to be built on family structure. We go through this stuff all the time.
Business and over at the Black Brain Trust, they talk about technology and micromobility and politics, a lot of different things, and women are a part of the conversation, but they don't dominate the conversation. And what we see is, though, a lot of these people who are in this gender war, I mean, they don't want to be married. They've created broken families, and
they created broken families. There's the bullshit. There's a lot of guys that are in the Black Manosphere that are married, and have kids. So there's that slag. Why are you here? If the Black Manosphere is broken and it creates something that's negative to you, why don't you see your way out of it? I hate cats like this. You don't like the message. You don't like what's going on. Nobody's holding you here. Leave.
Want to bash the opposite gender, and it's just like all you're doing is making the problem worse. And then when I go out and I point this out, they act dumb, like they don't know what I'm talking about, or they want to argue. It's the strangest thing.
It's not the strangest thing, because we disagree with you. We disagree with you. Making the problem worse. We're not making the problem worse. Actually, if you look at the marriage stats are up, believe it or not. But that wasn't us. That was the environment. The marriage stats have been fairly consistent over the last 30 years. Black marriage has been fairly level over the last 30 years, well before the Manosphere. So we didn't make it either better or worse. And really not about the women. And some guys do want to get married. Look at Kevin. Kevin was trying to encourage high-value men to find marriage, to find mates. Why do you think Passport Bros are getting the hell out of the country? What do you think that's about? Because they want to find mates, they want to find wives, they want to find girlfriends, they want to be happy. Now, are there some guys that want to pump and dump that don't believe in getting married or having kids, whatever? There are some. A lot of cats, my subs included, are married. Quite a few of them. And guess what they do? They play my recordings to their wives. But you want to pitch your message like you have the Holy Grail.
But let's just let this continue. We just don't, not as a collective.
To be fair, Kev didn't say that. He actually made it clear that there was a difference between Keisha bashing and arguing with women. That was on my part. So that's my bad.
So in other words, first thing, this is something that you guys don't do, right? You got to find out what is the problem that's keeping families from coming together. Instead of rhetoric, what is the underlying problem that you need to fix to bring people back together so that we'll be willing to form families? Got to bring the divorce rate down. Why is the divorce rate so high? Why is getting together and dating not fun anymore? Why are guys going the other way?
I mean, he prefaces what he says with, "You guys don't understand the problem. You don't know what the problem is," when it's clear as day what the problem is. It's almost, BGS, why do you do that? Why do you do that, BGS? Why?
It's because you dumbass motherfuckers don't understand what the goddamn problem is. That's why I do it. That's why I do it. Because you idiots don't understand the problem. The whole world understands what the goddamn problem is, except you. And you guys' fix is always alpha your way through it. It's impossible to do that because the men didn't cause this. The regular guy on the street didn't cause this shit. This stuff is all over the world. It's not just here. That's what I've been trying to tell you. It's all over the world, not just here. You don't understand what caused it because it's policy. You don't understand policy. None of y'all do. If you did, you'd be working to actually fix it. And that was the case when I first got here with the men's rights movement. They understood it's policy. It was policy back then. It's still policy. But you think it's just attitude. Come on, man.
Why do you say things that all of us know, but you say that we don't know those things or we don't talk about those things when we most certainly do? It's well understood.
No, you don't. You're not talking about it now. I gave you the opportunity to bring it up. Guess what you didn't do? And so the solution is, you just have to get with a family building warrior. Bullshit. That's bullshit. Because that's not what caused it in the first place.
It's like Dunning-Kruger, or it's just ego. It's something getting in the way where you end up talking past everybody because you seem like you pretend like you have all this information that nobody.
I do. Anybody can look it up. I do have all this information that I present that everybody uses except whom? All this shit is just jealousy. All it is jealousy. Motherfucker, I'm smarter than you. Let's put the cards on the table. I'm smarter than you. You are not in my class. You are not in my league. That's the problem. Otherwise, you wouldn't have to come begging me to help you. You could help yourself.
But he's privy to, when we all kind of see this common sense and common knowledge, and we've been knowing all this. And so for you to say, well, you guys don't talk about that, it's simply not true. And it's kind of aggravating because it just stupefies the conversation, because you're making something that's esoteric, something that's common knowledge. You try to sound like
it's not common knowledge. It is esoteric. Because if it wasn't common knowledge, it wasn't esoteric, you'd be trying to change the policies. You don't understand how the policies get formed and how they get pushed. But you don't understand that shit because, hell, I had to go dig for this stuff. And if I had to go dig for this stuff over many, many years, I know you had to. And I know when somebody knows what the fuck they're talking about. You, sir, do not know what the fuck you're talking about.
Esoteric, and nobody knows this.
You don't. To get to the underlying problem, which is something you guys don't talk about. We do.
As BS, we do talk about that.
No, you don't.
The underlying problem is BS. That's old news.
Hey, hold on. I am talking. Just like
BS.
I just let you talk.
Go ahead. You got it.
In other words, what's going on right now is, number one, guess what? Is the laws that are in place right now that's keeping black men from doing what? Getting married.
That's part of it. That's definitely true.
That's a main part of it. It's the main part of it. And how do you convince people, women and men and politicians, to change it to where the boundaries are more fair? Because when I started in MGTOW, right, in 2012, it was less than 1% of the population. It's 61% of the population now, of the young male population now. Where's that coming from? It's not us. That's the environment. How do you change that so it goes the other way? That means you have to change the environment. You have to convince people to change the environment. That's how come you have the 18-point plan.
But see what he says right there? He goes, you got to convince people to change the environment. And that's precisely what we're saying on this side. That's what we're saying. And we're the people that need to help other people change the environment. That's what the Black Brain Trust is. Get yourself interested in politics, in business, in technology. Get your mind onto the future as an...
That's bullshit. That's what I'm saying, and this is what frustrates me, right? You guys do not know what you are doing. You don't know what you're doing. You just saw us in Manosphere 2.0, as you want to call it, right? It really is 1.0. We just retrograde the earlier group that didn't call itself Manosphere or Black Manosphere to 1.0. You just saw us do it step by step by step by step. I was explaining it along the way, step by step by step by step. Okay? This doesn't happen overnight. Getting yourself into politics, getting yourself into technology, that's not going to help. Technology is what caused it. Technology is what caused it. Getting yourself in politics does help. I'm not going to say that it doesn't. The thing is, how do you convince the politicians themselves to actually start changing the laws? That means you have to do your homework. You have to do the homework for them. You have to show them what they need, which is something you don't. I know you don't, because you're not smart enough.
An individual and do things according to what the future is going to bring forth into this world, so you can capitalize on America instead of getting ran over by America.
You guys have no idea, and I've heard this from the Black Brain Trust. You guys have no idea what's coming. You guys have no idea what's coming. You don't. You have no idea what's coming. You don't. I hear it all the time. Y'all have no idea what's coming. That's how come I don't even deal with you guys anymore. Because you guys say every time, 90% of the time when we get together, we have a dispute, a debate. 90% of the time you're wrong. 90% of the time that you're wrong. Because you can't see the shit coming. Because you don't know how the system works. Very few people do. Anyhow, continuing.
That's what I say. Become a family building warrior as Black men, as Black people.
What the fuck does that mean? Family building warrior as Black people, as a Black man. How do you change a culture that's been around for 200 years? I just read a Psychology Today article, right? Most Black women don't even want to be married. They don't. You don't understand why. First, you have to understand why it broke down in the first place. I don't see you guys using that. Why it broke down in the first place, and how can you repair that if you can? That's the problem. If you can, how do you do that? That's why it's almost fruitless to go over this with somebody like this, right? It's fruitless because you don't know, and you're too prideful to find out. Because all the stuff that you said, you haven't refuted not one doggone thing, not one. There's not one piece of evidence that you even threw up, not one.
As Black women, but as the Black Manosphere, as Black men, if we're going to deal with women in a real way, we should have a culture for ourselves, independent of the laws, independent of statistics, independent of social pressures. What we say as Black men, if you're going to deal with a Black man, you got to be a submissive woman. You got to be the type.
So how do you convince Black men to do that? How do you convince them to do that? You know how hard it is to change a person's worldview? It's hard enough in a small group. And first of all, most Black women are not submissive in the first place. If you're going to deal with a Black woman, the best you can get is cooperation, or date out, or leave the country, which is what Black guys are doing. Black women do not become submissive just because you tell them to. They don't just bow down because you tell them to. They got to be trained to do it. But you dumbasses are not getting that. You cannot offer your way through this, right? You look at South Korea, right? One of the most highly patriarchal, authoritarian countries on the planet. They're having a hell of a time with their women right now. Their women are going rogue. That shit does not work. It's called cooperation. You have to come to an agreement. It's not, and this is not just here. This is all over the planet. This shit is going on all over the planet because of the gynocentric policies that they've been trying to institute in these countries. It's all over the planet. It's not just the black community. The thing is, you guys don't get that. Anyway, let me play some of this because I want to get through a little bit of this, man. You know, because most of this shit is just recursive rhetoric right now.
Type of woman who wants to be a great wife and a great mother, who wants to have a loving marriage, and before you even sit at the table with a black man, you already know that's what we expect. And right now, we don't have that in black culture. We don't, as black men, we haven't laid that concrete road down for people to drive on. We haven't laid that concrete sidewalk and that asphalt down for other people, for our own culture, for ourselves. And this is the message I'm trying to share with these guys. And it's like, no. You just don't understand the problem.
They've been saying that shit has been said way before you got here, boss. That shit has been said way before you got here. That shit, that argument goes all the way back to the 1980s. That argument goes all the way back to the 1980s. In fact, that argument goes all the way back to the 1970s. But guess what? We don't raise and train the boys. The boys are not in our control. It's black women, black female teachers, in the black gynocracy has your boys. So by the time they get to them, they already been socialized. They already been brainwashed. So you don't understand the problem. If you don't get that at that problem there about how to solve the doggone problem, then you're not going to get anywhere. You cannot alpha your way through this shit. Because if you could, you'd done it already. If you could have, and your message resonated with people, you wouldn't have 240 views on a video. Evidently, whatever you're saying is not working, because if it was working, people would flock to you. If your shit was working, regardless of what YouTube would do, regardless of YouTube, people would flock to you. They're not flocking to you. You're saying shit. There is no concrete proof of concept. Have you taken a group of guys, trained them up, and then put them out there and say this shit worked? Hell, they don't. Most of these guys, if you hear their language, I always pointed out to them, they believe in partners. And white psychologists are saying the same thing. This partnership. You have been socialized to be this way. And one thing about me being in the middle, I got you so-called reactive Negroes. I don't know if you're right or left or center. I have no idea what you are. And you left-wing Negroes on the other side. So you, Big J, Triple X, and you, and FD Signifier, and those kind of folks, you guys on opposite sides shooting at me. And which will not fix the doggone problem. I'm out here doing this. I'm out here saying that we have to lay the pen. You know what? What we have to come together and what we have to do, man, that shit is so old. That's one reason why I'm not, I've kind of stepped away from the conscious community and pro-black. Got tired of hearing that shit. That shit does not work. This shit does not work. I've heard it for 40 years. That shit don't work. What you're saying is just a rehash and a rewash of we all got to come together. That shit don't work. Why don't you go over to Obi? We need to talk. Okay? He's saying the exact same shit, and that shit don't work. It's not about them. It's about us. It's about us making choices, and you have to make the choices according to the environment that you're in. Your choices are limited by your environment, and you're not going to retrain these chicks. So if you do get them, they're not going to be submissive. At best, they're going to be cooperative. And in fact, they're getting worse because the environment allows them to get worse. That's why I say you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
It's like, here we go. It's like we're hustling backwards.
Dr. Johnson put up in 2020. I said, put it up so when they come to the black manosphere and say, what do you want? There it is. How do you start voicing yourself politically to start changing these?
Yeah, B, just let me ask you a question on that. Because we're talking past one another. Because I hear that, I go, yeah, I agree with that. I frankly, I don't see how that counters or is in any way adversive to what I'm saying.
It's not adversive. What you're saying is not going far.
Is adversive a word? I think it's just adverse. It's adverse. I don't think even adversive is a word. But y'all know what I meant. We'll carry on.
No, that's what I'm saying.
I think I did. I
You
think
just-
no,
you
I would
just
agree.
agree.
No, I would agree. That doesn't go far enough. I agree. It's not a one-trick pony. You can't just change the laws. You just can't have conversations. It's not just the economy. There's a lot of different aspects of this, correct? I mean, of course. But when I'm saying a major missing component from Black men, from our part, we don't, as Black men, we haven't built a culture where we put ourselves at the head, where
We haven't built it because the same shit. Okay, you know how long it takes to build a fucking culture. You know how it takes long to re-socialize any sector of the culture. In 1945, with civil rights, right? 80 years ago, we're only halfway through the cycle. Now, have we changed the culture slightly? Have we completely changed the culture in America? No, we haven't. That's been 80 years. Longer than I've been alive. And you act like, oh, if we just get out there and we punch and we say shit, are we gonna change the culture? It doesn't work that way, boss. The easiest way to change the culture is through the environment, which is what I was trying to tell him. But you want to be right. You want to be right. How do you change the laws? I'll give you a brief synopsis because basically he doesn't know, right? Okay, you have to work with the environment that you're in. Kevin Samuels could not have do what he did without COVID, without the environment, without the economy going sideways. The environment changes people faster than anything else because they have to change. People are actually built to adapt to the environment. If you change that, you change the people. That's what the feminists found out in 1972. Why do you think they took over the schools? They changed the environment and they re-socialized the kids over 3 generations. So you get the boys that have been socialized over 3 generations. You can't do that in one. That's why I asked you, you talk about changing the culture. Do you know how culture is built and how long it takes?
we stayed on business when it comes to family structure. That's not something that we do as a group. That's not my fault. That's not your fault. This is a culture that we've inherited. So what I do as Black men,
Go ahead.
because we're right here on Black YouTube and we got the eyes and ears of so many people. We built a culture on YouTube of family building. And then we spread that, push those ideas and that messaging out into the world. It's going to take, right? Just like the book, what was that book?
The Man Nine.
No. About the devil, what was it? About memetics. It had one of the chapters was about memes and Richard Dawkins.
Oh, you're talking about the Lucifer Principle.
Yeah, the Lucifer Principle, right?
Ah,
That's
what, the book I talked about. You didn't apply it right. In other words, really all it is that the whatchamacallit, the mechanism that we built. The mechanism that we built, you want to use that to your advantage, which is fine. Use it. You don't need me. Why you need me? Why you think I have a magic potion to pour it on your idea and it'll grow? Doesn't work that way, boss. That's what it's about. That's all it is. That's how you niggas won't leave me alone, because you think I have a magic potion. I gave you the clue. I gave you the formula. Use it for yourself. Use it for yourself. I'm giving you the clues. If you want to push that message out, I'm giving you the clues. But the thing is, you're not going to change a culture that's this old and this arch that has been passed down from generation to generation. I'm listening to Generation A say the same shit that my grandmother said. How are you going to change that? I hear guys mouth the same shit they've been mouthing. How are you going to change that? There is a way to change it, but y'all ain't going to do it. Because you think we just have to spread the message about building a family, building war. Don't work that way, boss. It doesn't work that way. You got to start in the schools first. What did Frederick Douglass say? It's easier to raise strong children, strong boys, than fix broken men. Right now, the manosphere is doing is fixing broken men. And all we can do is give those broken men options so they may be able to fix themselves. Family building. Anyhow, let me continue, man. I'll go an hour, man. Jesus Christ.
what I'm saying. That part is missing, and that's something that the Black Manosphere
It's not
could
missing.
really reshape people's minds in that way.
What do you think I've been using for the last 10 years, sir?
Well,
You found it because I brought it too. What do you think I've been?
So we're talking past it. BJS Radio, we're talking past one another. I knew about memetics before the Lucifer Principle. That wasn't a new concept to me. I had already known about memetics and propaganda long years before.
Memetics, dude. You didn't know about fucking viral meme because you asked me about the book. Memetics. Memes have been around for a long time. Memetics been around for a long time. You didn't know about viral memes because hell, how could you know about it before Lucifer Principle, right? What, you're 30, mid-30s, maybe 40? The book was printed in 1995, almost 30 years ago. You weren't old enough to even read the goddamn thing. You weren't old enough to even read the thing. What are you talking about?
Before I read that book, I found it to be a fascinating book, and that was part of the book, and I knew you had referenced that, so that's why I brought that up. But you use memes, I use memes. All of YouTube and the Black Manosphere it's basically a propaganda campaign, especially when it comes to this gender war. I know that you know that. We'll find out here that Kev doesn't necessarily know that. That's not like a slight or diss towards Kev, but it's just something.
Kev does know that because he ran a Facebook group that was like 20,000 members for 5 or 6 years before he got here. He does know that. The thing is, you don't know what you're doing. Just because you know about it doesn't mean you know what you're doing. You can know about calculus, doesn't mean you know how to work the problems. We're not talking past each other. You're saying that we're talking past each other. No, we're not.
That I'm trying to bring forth so people understand exactly what this is, because the Black Manosphere does need a new hunt. We do need a new hunt. And part of that new hunt is really drilling down on exactly what we're doing and how we can change minds in America in ways that can have a significant impact on the way.
That's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. Changing minds in America is fine. The environment's going to do that. My thing, in my hunt, the way I'm doing things. I said this shit, 2-3 years ago, right? It has to transition. You're already behind, sir. It needs a new hunt. You're already behind. The next hunt, as you called it, is changing policy. That's what the 18-point plan is. But you missed that because you don't grasp it, because it doesn't mean anything to you, because you want to push out what we've been pushing out, which is propaganda. Building families. I have no problem with that. If that's your mission, God bless you. That's not mine. Because the way the family is going to be built is going to be changed. It's going to change anyway. It's going to change anyway. And the only way to go back to what you think you want it to be is to change the whole environment. Changing the people inside the environment is not going to do it. The environment has to be changed first, and the people will adapt to it, just like it happened in the first place. When they changed the laws and changed the environment, that's when the family really started to split up, even the white family. That didn't just start. They changed that. It took 40 years to get here. From the time of no-fault divorce and affirmative action for white women in 1968, Planned Parenthood, all that kind of stuff, Title IX, that shit's 50 years ago. That's 50 years ago, sir. Shit didn't start just yesterday. That's 50 years. You act like you can snap a finger and a small group of people can actually change the world, okay? You don't even know how it changed in the first place. That's what I'm talking about. You have no clue how this stuff is done. A lot of planning the right memes, predicting what memes will work in what soil, what environment, and then waiting for the opportunity. So you need planning, number one. You need foresight to know what the environment is going to be, and you need luck. Fortunately, we got all three, which is almost like a moonshot. The Black Manosphere is a freaking miracle. And now everybody wants to jump on board like it's a machine. And you have no idea what it took to get here. You have no idea what it takes to get to the next step. None. And you're talking about a meme, okay? And you have to sit down and demand that Keisha submits to us. That's the same shit that Obsidian said back in 2015. That's the same shit that Angry Man said back in 2015. You haven't changed anything. Hell, that's the same thing that, what's his name? In 1.0 said the exact same thing, man. This, what you're saying is not new, boss. It's repackaged. It's repackaged shit that's been passed and doesn't work in this environment. You got to change the environment first, which is what I'm trying to tell you. But you want to be right. You actually want to be right. It doesn't make sense. The thing is, you know what? And basically, I'm going to tell you, this is the last time I'm really going to talk to you. If you're wedded to your idea and you think it's going to work, God bless you. God bless you. I don't agree. We can agree to disagree. I don't agree. You're not going to force me to take up your cause. It's not going to happen. Especially after being stabbed in the back by you people. You guys told me, what, 8 years ago, 7, 8 years ago, that what you guys were doing is superior to what I'm doing. And you're going to show me that your information is better than mine. And I was old, and I was a has-been, and basically your group was better. Evidently not. What does it say? With the scoreboard, right? What's on the scoreboard? That's what you're seeing. What's on the scoreboard? And the people that I'm with have accelerated. Where are you guys? And you blaming us. Like, if we only took up your cause and you used the microphone, our microphone, the one that we created, that you want to use for free. For free. And you want to whine and cry like we owe you something. No, we don't. No, we don't. You guys said that you had the plan, you had a superior plan, you had a superior position, and you're going to prove it to me. Fine. Hold your L. Stop whining at me about what you didn't get. That is your fault. If your plan doesn't work, that is on you. Go back and study, rejigger the thing. I haven't seen you go through books and show people where the stuff has come from. I haven't seen you show step by step how these things work out in the real world. I've never seen that from you. I've done this for 10 years. The gynocracy was not a call out to you. Now, people in the management took it up and ran with it because they saw value in it. It was actually called out to the academics. Because that's where the change needed to come. Because guess what? That's where your policy comes from. Policy don't come from the ground. It comes from the academics and bubbles out into the rest of the world. If you get to them, you start to change policy. That's what gynocracy was about. So the people that are inside that are suffering from this shit would actually say, now we have something to latch on to. And then they could actually couple with us, with the people on the ground, and start moving stuff. But when I brought my PhDs in there, you niggas started attacking them. First thing you did, y'all niggas started attacking them because you didn't know how things work. You didn't know how things go. You didn't know how to put shit together. That's the problem. You don't know what the fuck you're doing, but you don't want to admit that. So you're trying to force what you believe and what you're doing down my throat. It's not gonna happen. Okay? It's not going to happen unless you come up with something better than what I'm seeing. Leave me alone. I'm going to stop even being on panels with you Negroes. Leave me alone. I don't have time for this. I'm too old. Ain't got that much time to actually fuck around with Negroes that don't know anything. I have no time for the people in the back. I told you how to work it. I told you what it is. You talk about we were talking past each other. No, we're not. I can tell when you don't know what you're talking about. You know, the only thing is you couldn't refute my argument. Oh, BGS, we're talking past each other. Bullshit. Anyhow, continuing. Got about, man, I hate, gosh. You know what? My tolerance for stupidity is leaving me.
Black Americans deal with one another, the way we see ourselves and the way we interact in this world. And I don't mean that like pie in the sky. I mean in a very tangible, real way. We're going to get into that after we get done with this live stream I'm restreaming.
Used for the last 10 years. What do you mean? Let's skip forward. Let's see what he got to say. Let's skip forward.
Is stupid, as a matter of fact. But, I do understand she hangs around.
The goals of the Black Manosphere is getting out of this little boy, little girl gender war bullshit and making grown Black people, grown man, grown American politics and business, investing and careers and education, make that cool in a way that's who we are. Like, that's Black culture.
That's bullshit. This is global. This is not little boy, little girl shit. This is fucking global. And you don't even know what caused it. That's what I'm talking about. It's not little boy, little girl shit. This shit is global. Anyhow, let me come off of here, man, because these motherfuckers don't know what the fuck they're talking about, man. I'm getting irritated. They have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. They have no idea what they're talking about. At least Shaka Nula, I don't believe you should tell them to get married, have kids. It should be left up to. It should be. You have to understand what the reason of having families in the first place is, right? You got to go back to what marriage was about in the first place, right? It's about getting together to actually have children, right? Why? Because children used to be what? Labor. You had to have human resources to thrive and even survive. Children used to be essential. They were an asset before the Industrial Revolution, even before the 20th century, just before the 20th century, children were actually an asset. Even to the 1950s, children were actually an asset, not a liability. After 1950, guess what they are? They're a liability. You have to keep them in school for 18 years. You have to socialize them for 18 years. They can't even contribute until what? They're in their 20s. So by the time they're in their 20s, they don't contribute to your household anymore. So they're a liability now instead of an asset. Guess what's going to happen to something that used to be an asset when the fertility rate was actually 9 to a liability? It went from 9 to 3 to 1. Why do you think the fertility rate in South Korea is 7.7, less than 1? It used to be 8. It's less than 1. Why is that? Because children used to be an asset, became a liability. The thing is, you don't talk about that because you don't know this shit. You don't understand the why. All you want to do is beat your chest. There's simple ways to get shit done. The thing is, you have to change the environment first. You have to convince the Leviathan that's standing in your way, that cause balls and strikes, that really owns the children. You don't own your children, right? The state owns your children. You get parental guardianship. And the state determines what your kids will do, who gets the kids, and where the money's going to flow, which is why Black women have kids, because they know that the state's actually going to pay them or fund money to them to actually help raise these kids, because they need workers. They need citizens. That's why I played the video, Uncle Sam is the new baby daddy. That's what happened to Black people and Black women, right? They made Uncle Sam their baby daddy. And guess what? They removed you. But we don't talk about that. Did Black people cause that? No. We didn't cause that. But that has to be uncovered so people will understand this is the policy. And if you don't understand what caused the problem, you can't solve the problem. That's what I'm saying. But you know what? I think that's enough for me. Because they don't have any cogent arguments, and I don't feel like sifting through 2 hours of bullshit to find a cogent argument. And I wasn't really tagged or highlighted in this particular video. So, and I wouldn't have known about it if certain people hadn't talked about it. So Kev, I guess, found it. It's probably Andre that found it and sent it to him. Because I can't sit through this shit. I cannot sit through this shit. And I've never been invited. He has my email. You want to invite me to actually have this discussion? We can. The thing is, you know that you can't, because you know that your arguments don't hold weight. Because you don't know enough, and you know it. Get your shit together. If you got arguments, you got your proof, lay it out. And I may come back. And then get at me. There's all kinds of ways to find me. Y'all niggas find me when you want to. Other than that, man, this is the last time I'm even gonna talk to you, sir. Go do you. If you think your shit's gonna work, you think your shit is superior, go do you. If it's such a great idea, it'll catch on, regardless of what I do. Kevin's high value man caught on. Had nothing to do with me. Anyhow, let me bounce off of here, man, because like I said, I'm getting irritated. That's why I don't even like doing this shit. So, man, like I said, go do you. I don't have time for this shit. If this is all you got, all this freaking rhetoric, it's all you got, y'all can keep it. Because the brothers that I talk to that get into the nitty gritty about how this shit is formed, they're light years over where you guys are. Oh, just learn tech. Oh, just learn a little politics. Oh, just go to your local politician and tell him what? And tell him what? What are you gonna tell your local politician? Oh, we need to help these boys. Well, how are you gonna help them? What's your plan? Well, we need to start institutions. What kind of institutions? What are they gonna do? I don't know. We just need an institution to help these boys and to help start businesses. There's so many institutions out in the black community to help start businesses and fund businesses and all this kind of stuff. It's ridiculous. My mentor, she's a part of 4 of them. That's how far this stuff goes back. I'm tired of hearing it. Do better. Do better. Stop with this stuff. Do better. If you really want to help, you really want to get at me, you really want my attention, do better. This sophomore bullshit they've been talking about since 1.0, man, it's not going to work. Do better. Anyhow, that's all I got. So peace out.